Do you know what your core is? In simple terms, if you were to put a barrel around your middle and hold it up to your armpits, all the muscles underneath that barrel make up your core muscles. These are the muscles that stabilize your pelvis and your spine. By understanding the function of these muscles and incorporating targeted exercises for your weaknesses, you can work on improving all your core strength, your posture, reduce the risk of injuries so you're healthy enough to do all those things you love to do in life. The first step is to know your weaknesses, and that's why I'm here to help you with your pelvis assessment. I did this with the Be Healthy Enough members last week, and it's just too important not to share with even more people. Learn a little bit more about your wonderful core muscles, and then we're going to do an assessment together. Ready to get started? I'm down here. This is the presentation. I'm going to go through a little bit of this presentation first, and then we're going to cut away to the assessment. Hang on tight. I'm going to get as much information into your head as I possibly can without making you feel so overwhelmed, because your pelvis is extremely complicated and everybody's different. All right, let's go to the next slide. Okay, objectives of this presentation. I want to help you understand your pelvis area a little bit more, how important it is to keep this area of your body strong, why you might be having some pain, a lack of mobility, or other serious pelvic floor issues. Also, throughout all of this is going to be the time when you go, you know what, white flag, I need more help. I don't understand this. Amy can't help me. You need a professional, okay? This knowledge will help you ask the right questions, but I really encourage you to seek professionals because they know a lot. Okay, and then I'm going to give you a step-by-step action plan because I'm an action kind of girl. All right, who am I? Who is this Amy Van Loo? I help women over 50 get moving and feel better, even as those darn aches and pains of age start to creep in. My purpose in this later half of life, I'm now 61 as I'm filming this, is to meld my engineering and project management experience with my passion for health and fitness to find unique ways to enlighten, empower, and inspire others to lead healthy, productive lives. Yes, I had a 26-year career at Hewlett-Packard as an engineer and then project manager, people manager. Now I'm doing what I love to do. And how do I do this? I do some one-on-one training, but I'm limiting that because I'm loving the flexibility and vacations that were going on. So I've switched my business to online workouts designed for us women over 50. Because I know a lot of you after COVID didn't want to go to the stinking gym, and how fun it is to work out in your PJs whenever you want to without having to drive to the gym. But I also realize we can't do those crazy boot camp classes that we did in our 30s. I know I can't. So the other part of my business is, let's get the clicker, motivation and community. How many of you already know what you need to do? The struggle is getting motivated to do it. That's where I'm here to help. And the entire Be Healthy Enough community. We have an online private community group where we inspire each other. I do challenges. I do monthly workout calendars, all in hopes of motivating you to press play, because sometimes that is the hardest part of an exercise plan. And then education, research, and sharing my knowledge, which is I love to do. Why am I here? And what gives me the credentials to help you? I am a personal trainer, certified health coach. I am now certified with the MedFit organization for menopause fitness specialist. I did get my Deborah Atkinson Flippin' 50s fitness specialist. I have osteoporosis fitness specialist. I got certified with Sarah Duvall in her Pelvis Pro course, which was mind-blowing, and that's why I'm here. Did it over a year ago. It took me a while to crunch everything down into a simple format because it is extremely complicated. Okay, and disclaimer, I am not a doctor or a physical therapist. I'm a certified Pelvis Pro coach through Sarah Duvall and her Core Exercise Solutions. If you have pain or issues with incontinence, prolapse, or anything, please, again, seek professional help. Okay, next slide. Here we go. Time for a poll. Do any of you, leave me a comment below, any of you experience incontinence, which is when you pee by accident. There are two types of incontinence. One is stress incontinence and one is a chronic incontinence. Stress incontinence is where you laugh or you sneeze and a little pee comes out. But there's some severe incontinence where you cannot hold your bladder or you get urges. You have to pee all the time. That's a huge signal that something's going on with your pelvis area, specifically the muscles in the pelvis floor, which is just the little cup right around your PP area. There's all those muscles that hold everything up. There's the other thing, incontinence. There's also prolapse, where your muscles are not strong enough to keep your internal organs up there. And so you can have internal organs coming out through your vagina. Yes, it's real. I've had friends that have had that happen. So freaking scary, but it can happen if you're not careful. Pregnancies, trauma, weakness, all sorts of things. These are serious, serious things. And then pain. Just pain in general, pain in going potty, pain with sex. These are all things sometimes we don't like to talk about because they're private, but they're serious. So I want you to leave me a comment if you've had any of these, and then I want you to stop right now and go talk to your doctor. You can watch, of course, but this is where I'm tapping out. You need a professional, okay? Let's go to the next slide. Again, I talked at the beginning of this is what your core is. It's that barrel, and everything from your armpits all the way to your kneecaps are the muscles that make up your core. And to understand this, we're going to do a quick anatomy overview. Yes, I am a recovering engineer, but I think it's important for you to understand at a very high level what's going on and what we're talking about. Because I think a lot of people have misconceptions about your core and your pelvis floor and all of that. It's so much more than you think. The first part is the bony parts of your pelvis area. You've got your ilium, which is the big elephant wing muscles in your pelvis area. You've got your sacrum. If any of you had SI joint problems, where you've been diagnosed with, they call it SI or joint problems, that's a problem with the misalignment between your sacrum and your ilium. Something's out of whack. Maybe a muscle's tight or too weak on one side versus the other, and so it pulls it out of whack and you get some severe pain running all the way down one of your legs. You've got your femur, which is attached to your hip bone, which is a part of your pelvis, your pubis, your coccyx or your tailbone, and then the ischium, which is kind of, and the pubic bone, which is the front part. The ischium are your sits bones, those little bony bones that you sit on. All the muscles I'm going to share now attach to this pelvis and to your spine, which is your core. Okay, let's zip through those as fast as we can. The first one I talked about are the specific pelvic floor muscles, or those muscles that are that cup right underneath your vagina area, your PP area, and they're super important. And a lot of people think, oh, that's my pelvic floor, that's the only thing I need to work on, but it's all connected. And the other misconception is your core is these are your ab muscles. You've got your rectus abdominis, which is the big, long, straight muscle. You've got your transverse abdominis, which is the muscle that runs across your tummy. It's like the corset. People that have had a C-section might have had that cut. And that can be really challenging to build up that core muscle. And you do have an inherent weakness in those, which could cause adverse effects throughout your pelvis, throughout your body. And then the obliques, which are the side muscles that all of us covet to have those tight abs. Well, the rectus abdominis is what they call the six-pack abs. Most of us will never get that. I heard a statistics that it's easier to get $1 million than it is to get six-pack abs. It's very, very difficult. Okay, next one is your spinal muscles are a part of your core. All the muscles that run down the length of your spine and attach to your pelvis. Those are an important part of your core. Your hip flexors, those are the muscles that you use to bring your knee to your chest. And they're attached to the pelvis area and to the spine. There's the psoas muscles, which everybody knows about. You might not know about that. Those are the big hip flexor muscles. But there's other muscles that come into play to bring the knee to your chest. And there's some issues when those are weak. All right, then we've got the glutes, the backside, the big gluteus medius, maximus. Medius is the side, the gluteus minimus. And then all of these muscles are your deep hip rotator muscles. Those are the muscles you need to rotate your hips in and out, like doing side leg lifts and things like that. Inherent problems with these are weak glutes, and these little tiny muscles have to do more because the glutes are not playing fair. So making sure that your glutes are strong and you can activate them correctly, making sure you're taking time to work on these small little muscles. It doesn't take much, but you've got to focus on those deep hip rotator muscles to keep the pelvis and the core strong. Then you've got your hamstrings. Yes, your hamstrings are a part of your core, the back of the leg. And then you've got the quads, the front of the leg, which are a key part of your core. And then even more so, the inner thighs, which are super important. And when they get weak, you can have all sorts of pain. And then the outer thighs, which we talked about a little bit. The IT band is not actually a muscle, it's a band. But that's an overview of the anatomy. If I went too quickly, if you have any questions, leave me a comment below on that. So why are these so important? They're a key part to being healthy enough, which is why I named my company Healthy Enough. So we have to work around those aches and pains and creep in, and we have to do some of the non-sexy stuff to keep those smaller muscles healthy instead of just working on those boot camp and the cardio and those big old muscles. You need to take time to strengthen these ever so important muscles, because you're going to improve pain in your hip, low back, even your knees and your neck. You're going to improve your whole body strength, because a strong core is a strong body. You're going to improve your mobility and flexibility to prevent injuries, and possibly improve and prevent some serious issues that I talked about earlier: incontinence, pain, prolapse. Okay, the first thing we're going to be doing is pelvis alignment. Excuse me, I need to get there. It's a very common problem affecting nearly half of women involved, and I'm going to share what pelvic alignment I'm talking about in a second. It can cause pain, difficulty walking, sitting, poor posture, and infertility, which shocked me when I was doing my research and learning about this. Many different factors can cause a misaligned pelvis, and we'll go into the 3 types of pelvis alignment in a second. The first one is an anterior pelvic tilt, in which your pelvis is tilted forward here. A posterior pelvic tilt, where your pelvis, I call it butt gripping, is tilted backwards. And then I showed here neutral, where it's just even. Let's see. For each of these, one anterior pelvic tilt can be caused by a number of factors. One are tight hip flexors. If you can see my arrow here, hopefully you can see that. When these muscles right here are tight, you can imagine a tight rubber band pulling your pelvis forward. Sedentary lifestyle, lack of core strength. If these muscles are weak, you might have problems with that pelvis just wanting to tilt forward naturally. Poor posture, the daily habits such as slouching or overarching your back all the time can gradually alter the alignment of the pelvis. Genetics and body structure too, something you can't change very easily, can cause an anterior pelvic tilt. And some people have a bigger booty, which makes them look like they have an anterior pelvic tilt when maybe they don't. But it could be some issues, and it can be extremely difficult, and you're going to have to learn to work around this. Injury and trauma, previous injuries to your pelvis, lower back, hips can affect the muscle foundation and contribute to this type of misalignment. Now, the posterior pelvic tilt, you're going to hear some themes: weak abs or weak muscle strength causing the pelvis to tilt forward, tight hamstrings pulling that pelvis down if they're too tight, weak glutes, they can't support that pelvis, it's not strong enough to stabilize it and just go ahead and tilts backward. Imbalanced hip flexors, so tight hip flexors can pull the pelvis into anterior pelvic tilt, but weak ones can pull it into posterior pelvic tilt. Those are hard words to say. Poor posture habits, yet again, and injury and trauma. Let me keep going. The next pelvic alignment issue is a lateral pelvic tilt. This is where one side of your pelvis is coming down further than the next. And it's so interesting. If you look what happens when this pelvis is tilted. You can cause problems with your shoulder. You can cause problems with your knee or the arch of your foot. So it's a chain reaction and throughout the entire body. And I learned a lot of this in my biomechanics method corrective exercise specialist course, where everything, the foot muscle is connected to the knee muscle, is connected to the hip, all the way up like that song. They're all connected. Now, what are causes of this lateral tilt? Muscle imbalances as well, the same as the other. One side weaker than the other or stronger than the other. Leg length discrepancies. If you've ever been told that you have one leg longer than the other, this can definitely cause this type of pelvic alignment. Scoliosis, which is a curvature of your spine, which you're born with, which can be extremely challenging to overcome. The ripple effect of this spinal movement. Uneven hips. I didn't know that people can get hip dysplasia. I've had dogs with hip dysplasia. Or injuries to the hips can cause one hip to sit higher or lower than the other. Unilateral activities. I do this a lot. How many of you carry your purse on one side only? Or you carry groceries or your grandkid on one side? Make sure you're doing activities on both sides. So if you catch yourself doing something on one side versus the other, golfers can have it's typically a unilateral activity. So make sure you're looking at those activities that you do. And then again, of course, poor posture. Right now, how's your posture? Are you sitting up nice and tall, shoulders back and down, abs pulled in? Are you arching your back forward? Are you scrunching down your pelvis forward? Be mindful of this. I have ESP and I know when your posture's bad. So get that posture good. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to go off the slides and I'm going to show you how to assess your own pelvis alignment. And I'll be right back for a poll. Now let's do an assessment. Now, again, I'd love you to have the tracking sheet printed out or a journal because it's important to note your observations, all of them. There's no judgment. There's no doing this right or wrong. It's just a chance for you to notice how things feel, okay? You will need, I'm up on an elevated surface. For this first test, you need to be up on an elevated surface. It can be your bed, it can be a couch. I have my massage table here, which I'm going to do all of these assessments from, just easier for you to see. The first one, let me show you, is just going to be the knee to chest with the leg lower. So you're going to relax. If you need to grab a pillow so your head is comfortable, don't want the upper body getting into this equation at all. And then you need to scooch to the edge. Make sure you don't fall off, please. You need to scooch to the edge because I'm going to have you let your leg hang down. First thing is relax your upper body. Actually, while you're here, I want you to notice one thing. Do you have a big gap between your low back and the surface? This might be another indication of an anterior pelvic tilt where your pelvis is tilted forward so your back arches up. And if it's really squished down on the mat without you even trying, that could be an indication that you've got a posterior pelvic tilt. I want you to just stay neutral. No adjusting here. This is something I want you to notice because we just talked about a pelvic alignment. All right. So what you're going to do now is just relax and without moving your pelvis at all, if you can, just bring one knee into your chest. This isn't a part of this assessment. This assessment will be next, just to get it out of the way. And I want you to have that leg coming down off of the table or the surface that you're on. What I'm looking for is hip flexor tightness. I worked with a client that couldn't even get this down like this. You want to be able to let it gently hang all the way down onto the floor if you can touch. I can't touch. This is too high. But close to the floor where it doesn't have any pain. Notice in your tracking sheet any pain. If it's super easy, you don't feel any tightness, give yourself a 0 for this one. For me, I'm feeling some tightness. I might give myself maybe a 1 because I am feeling it a little difficult to pull that down. Okay, it's not a 0. And then you try it again for the other side. You've got to scooch all the way over. You might have to, if you're in your bed, you might have to turn over. Bring the knee to the chest first. Bring the knee to the chest first. And if that, you feel like the other leg is lifting up off the mat, that's an indication you've got some hip flexor tightness too. And if you got any pain, notice that as well. And let that leg hang off. This leg, I don't feel, I'd give myself a 0 for this side. It's not as tight as the other side. All right. Next one is a straight leg raise. Now this particular one is just meant to detect pain in your pelvic girdle or your whole pelvic area. All right, so it can be an indication if you can't do this or you're feeling pain, you've got weak glutes, tight hip flexors, or maybe even a weak core. So all you're going to do is a straight leg raise. Again, getting the upper body out of the equation. Take a deep breath in and relax, and all you're going to do is lift up one leg a little bit off the mat. Notice how difficult that is, but particularly notice if you have any pain in your low back. That's definitely an indicator that some of your muscles are not working correctly. Try the other side. I do notice a slight difference from one side to the other. You can go back and forth, just notice. It's more right here that I'm feeling the limitation, which is quite interesting. This side, I don't feel that tightness. It's just, again, no judgment. It's just all about noticing, observing, because you're going to reassess after you've done some exercises to help with your weaknesses. While you're here, let's just check hamstring tightness and see what happens when you lift the leg up even higher. Does this opposite leg come off the mat or the surface? Can you get your legs straight and 90 degrees? I can't. I've got some hamstring tightness. My knee is slightly bent, and that's a little bit challenging to get it up to 90 degrees. I'm feeling the other leg lift up to compensate as well. And then the other side, that one's a little bit better. So my left side is a little bit weaker. Okay. That's a good one. Make sure you notice this. Now, this next one is just a knee to chest. So you're going to be flat on the surface. Again, we're going to be looking for pain and impingement or uncomfortable feelings right around through here in your pelvis area, okay? Laying flat. Take a deep breath in and relaxing the upper body. I try to remember, sometimes the upper body just tightens to try to help with all of this. But we want to assess the pelvis area, not the upper body. Okay, what you're going to do is just bring one knee with your own body weight, no pulling or anything yet. Bring that in towards your chest and see how far you can get without any pulling. I can get about right there. Ultimately, you want to get that knee all the way to your chest, but I'm feeling some impingement right here. Now I want you to grab that knee and pull it in even more, looking for pain, of course, always pain first. Tightness, pinching feelings, just note a pinching. Sometimes you get a pinching right in through here. Sometimes this opposite leg will come up trying to help like that because you're really tight throughout your pelvic area. And then relax. And let's try the other side. Sometimes the sides are very different. Relax first. Then bring that knee in with no movement from the upper body. That one, keep it a little bit closer. And then pull and see if any impingement. Yep, my right side is definitely a little bit better than my right is better than my left with all of these assessments so far. It's so interesting how one side is different, but it can happen. We do things unilaterally a lot. I know I carry my purse always on my left side, not my right. Okay, this next one is one of the most difficult to demonstrate and the strangest effect. And make sure you're writing down all these observations. I'm going to show you from this angle first because maybe I think I can do it from here. You're going to rest your upper body. You're going to have your knee right over your hip, 90-degree bend. There you go. I can see it in the monitor here. Deep breath in, and I want you to externally rotate your hip, which means you're going to bring your foot in, trying to keep your knee in alignment, not bringing it out or in. It stays right over your hip. All you're doing is doing this little rotation of your femur in your hip socket. See how far that knee comes over your body. Just notice that. And then you're going to bring it this way, and then you're going to bring it out. I can definitely do more external rotation or bringing my foot in than I can internal rotation. It's just, I feel it straining just a bit. But I can definitely bring my foot out. Hopefully you can see that. I'll show you a different angle in a second. Actually, I'll show you a different angle now. Now from this angle, you'll be able to see the rotation. So knee is directly over the hip, and external rotation of the hip. So you're externally rotating that femur. Foot comes across the body. Actually, I'd give myself pretty much a 0 on that one. And then out, not too bad, probably a 1. That's a little bit more difficult than going inward. Take a breath and just try that a couple times. See how that feels. Keeping your pelvis still, trying to only use those external rotator muscles. Now let's see the other side. This is what's really interesting for me. Get set up, knee over the hip. Deep breath in, relax your upper body. Look at that. I can externally rotate even more than I could on the other side. But watch this, and I'm not faking this. I cannot get that out that way without like tweaking my body. It's physically impossible. So I know I've got some interesting enough that's on my right side. Didn't I say that my left side was having problems? But for that external rotation piece, my right side is the limiting factor. Make sure you note that there. All right, last one. It's just going to be a prone leg lift. Just checking for glute strength. You're checking for pain in your low back. All you're going to be doing is laying on your tummy, which is prone. And you're going to be taking deep breath in. And for this one, I want you to engage your core a little bit. Just squeeze that core like you're trying to pull it away from the surface to protect your low back from doing anything. If you've got any back pain, don't do this assessment, okay? This can be very risky for back problems. Resting your head on your forearm, take a deep breath in and engage your tummy, and then lift one thigh. You need to see if you can get that thigh off the surface. Squeezing your glutes, and then try on the other side. Definitely my right side is easier than my left, which is interesting. And I'm not feeling any low back pain or anything. I'm feeling it work, and I want you to notice too, I want you to observe this. Do you feel your low back doing all the work, or are you squeezing your glutes? That can be an indication that you've got weak glutes or they don't know how to fire, okay? And that may be something that you need to work on. So write this all down again, no judgment. It's just where you're at today, because you're going to work on that and make some improvements and reassess in about 4 to 6 weeks. How did you do with the assessment? Make sure you filled out all that you could. Bottom line summary in all of this is that, yes, I just said this, contact your doctor with severe pelvis issues. Please see a professional. They have so many ways they can help you. Don't be embarrassed. I know it can be embarrassing to talk to people about, oh, you pee accidentally, or you can't hold your poop in. That's bad. Or if you've got severe pain during sex, please seek help. I promise you, there are experts out there willing to help you. Understand your weaknesses, your alignment, your flexibility, your strength, mobility. For you, you're going to be very different from me and your friend. It's important to understand where you are. That is a key bottom line, because everybody is different. I wish I could see you all one-on-one, take you through my extensive pelvis assessment, and find what's particular issues. I am working with one personal training client, I'll give you this now, and she was waking up with severe pelvis pain in the front of her leg, only on one side. And we worked on for months and months her hamstring strength. What we found out, her glutes were weak, her hamstrings were weak. So the poor front of her leg, the quads, the hip flexors, were trying to do all the work for those lazy hamstrings and glutes. The minute we got her to be able to activate her hamstrings and improve that strength of the hamstrings and the glutes, the pelvis front of the leg pain went away. It was amazing I'm so proud of her. And then, yeah, work to make improvements, but please go slowly and safely. These are small muscles. You need to go slow. It's not about the number of reps you get in here and the number of time. It's about feeling those particular muscles engage and then slowly progress. So what's next for you? Let's see. Love your core to protect your future. No, none of us want to be wearing Depends. None of us want to be held up because we can't go on that lovely hike. I just went on a hike to Sedona with my nieces. I was working on an ankle injury, but it was so fantastic, and I could hike and almost keep up with them because I know I had a strong core, and it was magical. I'm so happy I got to do that. I want you to stop right now. From the assessment and all of this, what one thing did you learn about your body tonight? And I want you to write that down and think about that. Just one. And then the next thing is write down one action step you're going to take to make some improvements in your core, whatever weaknesses you found. God bless you if everything went great, no problems. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be working on your core. It just means that you are way above and ahead of the game. And there is hope. So I always say the first one, assess. You did it. Document these results. Get a doctor's help if needed. They'll be so impressed with how much you know about your pelvis area. Step 2 is to exercise. You can research. There's so many experts out there researching specific exercises. I think I even have a top 7 pelvis exercise videos on YouTube. I have to make sure I leave those in the notes. That you need to work on. And members, if you're watching this, you know I've got a whole program. I'll share with that in a minute. Create a plan to get them done. Don't just willy-nilly, don't just willy-nilly say, I'm going to do this on this day. Failing to plan is planning to fail. So write it down. Write down when you're going to do these core workouts, where you're going to do them, and how long you're going to do them for. And then stay consistent and motivated. I know this is easier said than done, but find a why. What is your why? Why do you want to do this? Do you want to hike with your nieces in Sedona? Do you want to be able to play with your grandkids? Do you want to be able to go on that amazing vacation? I just talked with a member who's got a vacation planned in Greece, and that's what her why is, and she's working on those core muscles to get there. And then the last one, reassess. Look, see how far you've come. You've got the data, you've got everything you need. And then make adjustments and progress. If things are getting easy, you need to make them more difficult. Or you could do all of that right there, that exercise piece, or you can join, I was going to do a plug, right? You can join the Be Healthy Enough Digital Fitness Studio. Everything you need to build a strong core is there. That's my little logo. I just released in April of 2024 a Core Vitality Pelvis Edition program. Within that program has a masterclass where I go in much more depth on all the muscles, a more detailed pelvis alignment video, more than you got in this one, a lesson on how to engage your core while you're exercising, while you're moving, 5 pelvis strength videos, and I'm going to do more, a specific workout plan for 35 days of pelvis strength, motivation and support from the Be Healthy Enough community, and me, your online personal trainer. Members reach out to me through text, through email, through the Be Healthy Enough community every single day. And we do Zoom calls. I am there for you. I've got your back. Let's see, do I have another slide? Yes, I have a gift for you for watching to the very end. I should have said this at the beginning. I'm going to be putting the link for you to grab your Strong Core, Strong You, a guide for women over 50 ebook. I just finished up the final touches. I'll put the link below. All you have to do is give me your email and I'll send that to you right away. Or you can join the Be Healthy Enough community. I'll give you a link to that as well. And if you use the code PELVIS, you'll get 25% off any membership, which is my monthly or my yearly membership. Hold on, let's see, where am I going here? And then, with that membership, I do offer a 7-day free trial. So you can try those 5 pelvis strength videos and watch it. I bet you could do it all in. I don't recommend that. Do a couple of them or check it out, but you can cancel anytime before that 7-day trial is up. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you subscribe. Leave a comment below. Check out my website, behealthyenough.com. I'll leave all the links below. Follow me on social media where I'm posting all the time little tidbits on being healthy enough over 50. Have a wonderful day and thank you so much for watching. Bye.